bit later, you're going to add some music and a short title sequence to your video. In anticipation of that, let's create a little space at the beginning. Let's say we know that we want a 5-second title sequence, so we'll want to create 5 seconds of empty space at the beginning of the project. Double-click the value in the first of the 3 boxes in the lower right-hand corner of the workspace to select it. Now type 5.0, that's 5 seconds, 0 frames, into the box and press the Enter key. The cursor jumps to exactly the 5-second mark in the timeline. You'll want to remember this important location in your project because you'll need to come back to it later. So insert a marker here. Choose Insert Marker. An orange marker appears above the time ruler. In the text box that opens, type Video Start and press the Enter key. Drag the event until their left edges snap to the marker. This demonstrates that markers act as snap objects, just as the cursor does, and are thus very useful tools, not only for remembering the important locations, but also for editing to those locations. If you've moved the cursor away from the marker location, click the Marker tab to move the cursor back to it. Let's say you decide you don't want to use the audio portion of this file. Instead, you want to use a narration and some music. Click the audio event to select it and then press the Delete key on your keyboard. This deletes both the audio and the corresponding video events since they're grouped, which is not what you wanted to do. In Vegas Pro, you have unlimited undo, so it's easy to correct a mistake. Click the Undo button to undo the last edit. In order to remove just the audio portion of the file, we'll have to ignore the grouping that exists between the 2 events. Click the Ignore Event Grouping button. Now, select the audio event again and press the Delete key. This removes the audio event but leaves the video event on the timeline. Click the Ignore Event Grouping button again to turn that function off. Now, from the Explorer window, drag the audio file that holds your narration onto the timeline. Here's where the marker comes in handy. You want the narration to start with the start of the video, so drag the position box until it snaps to the marker and then release the mouse button. To see and hear what you have now, click the marker tag to navigate to it and play the project.
Okay, rolling?
Yep.
Okay, here we go, take 1. So that we could teach you how to edit in Vegas,
If, like mine, your audio file needs some editing, use the same edge trimming technique you used earlier on the video event to trim off the unwanted portion of the audio event. If you need to, drag the event to the left until it starts at the marker again. Now, let's add music to the project. Drag an audio file and drop it on the blank area of the timeline underneath the existing audio track. Position it to start at the very beginning of the project. This creates a new audio track. Play the project from the beginning and notice that adding the music creates a couple of potential problems.
So that we could teach you how to edit in Vegas, we enlisted the help of the members of the Wingra, Heron Hops, and Derail Your Society Bicycling Club, who allowed us to use footage of them in our series of Vegas seminars. For helping us get the shots we really wanted, we owe a great deal of thanks to Rick.
First, although the music comes in at the appropriate volume when it plays alone, it might overpower the narration. In addition, if you edit a complete song, the music may be far longer than you need it to be. You already know how to fix that problem with the edge trimming techniques you've been using, but in order to do so, you'd need to first use the scroll bar to scroll all the way over until you find the right edge of the event. Here's a quicker way to get the job done. Click the music event roughly 10 seconds past the end of the narration audio event. As usual, this selects the event and places the cursor at that point. Now press S on your keyboard. S stands for split, and this splits the event into 2 separate events. The second of the 2 events remains highlighted, so press the Delete key to remove it from the project. Of course, now the music stops abruptly, and it'd be nice to make it fade out smoothly. Just as you created the fade in on the video event earlier, you can create a fade out on this, and for that matter, any other event. Point to the upper right-hand corner of the event, and when you see the fade icon, drag to the left. Make the fade out about 9 seconds long. Play the project again, and as it plays, lower the volume of the music track to about -12 dB.
So that we could teach you how to edit in Vegas, we enlisted the help of the members of the Wingra, Heron Hops, and Derail Your Society Bicycling Club, who allowed us to use footage of them in our series of Vegas seminars. For helping us get the shots we really wanted, we owe a great deal of
Now you can clearly hear the narration over the music. But now you have a different problem. While it's great that you can hear the narration more clearly now, it'd be nice if the music was more out front in the sections where the narrator doesn't speak. For instance, right at the beginning. In other words, you want the best of both worlds, quiet music when the narrator speaks and loud music when he doesn't. You can't simply adjust the volume fader to accomplish this goal. In order to get the results you want here, you'll have to automate the mix. In other words, you'll change the volume of the music file over time to turn it up and down at the appropriate points in your project. First, double-click the volume fader for the music track to reset it to the default level of 0.0 dB, which means no change in volume. Double-clicking most faders and sliders in Vegas Pro resets them to their defaults. Now, right-click the track icon for the music track and choose Insert Remove Envelopes Volume from the pop-up menu. A blue line now runs through the middle of the track. Right-click the blue line near where it intersects the marker in your project and choose Add Point from the pop-up menu. Add another point a bit to the left of this one. Finally, add 2 more points, one near where the narration waveform ends and another a bit to the right of that. You've broken the envelope line up into separate segments, and you can adjust those segments to create your automation. You need to attenuate, or lower the volume of, the section of the music under the narration. To do so, drag the segment that corresponds to the narration down toward the bottom of the track. Drag until the tooltip reads -12 dB. It'll probably be difficult to hit -12 dB exactly, but here's a technique that makes it easy. When you get close to -12 dB, press and hold the Control key while you continue to drag the envelope line. Now you're able to move in much finer detail, and it's easy to hit your mark exactly. This technique works anytime you're making an adjustment to an envelope, fader, or slider in Vegas Pro. Now, play your project from the beginning and listen to how the music comes in strong, fades out partially during the narration, and fades back up until the final fade out.
So that we could teach you how to edit in Vegas, we enlisted the help of the members of the Wingra, Heron Hops, and Derail Your Society Bicycling Club, who allowed us to use footage of them in our series of Vegas seminars. For helping us get the shots we really wanted, we owe a great deal of thanks to Rick Thiel, who lent not only his time, but his motorcycle, his steady driving skills, and his understanding of bicycling to put the camera right into the pace line for close-up riding shots that we never could have gotten otherwise.
You've just created an audio duck in which the music ducks out of the way so you can hear the narration.